You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Falling Skies After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Falling Skies After Show.
That's right, guys. Falling Skies, Evolve or Die, Season 4, Episode 4. And wow, that was a really interesting episode. There was a lot that happened in it, kind of in a build-up, in my opinion. I'm your host, Roya Taheri, and joining me, and I'm trying to take the reins on tonight's episode, guys.
I'm letting you.
And it's Nando to my right.
Hi there. How's everyone going?
And of course, we have Phil and the little
We've divided the factions, just like the show is divided. We're all split up here on the show tonight. Everyone's in a different area of the studio.
You don't see it, but there's an electric fence separating us from Phil right now.
Yes.
It's an electric fence.
Question is, are we going to bring it down, or are we going to leave him in there?
Well, question is, do we live in the ghetto area, or does Phil live in the ghetto area? That's the question.
I'm the kid of the group.
Well, let's just jump right into this episode, though, guys. We start off, we see Tom, Hal, and Weaver meeting up at Cochise rendezvous point. And basically, we meet, I guess we kind of meet a new character. We meet Shaq, as Hal called him. We
meet a couple of new characters this episode.
Yeah.
But let's start with that, yeah.
We see that, and basically Cochise tells Tom where Matt is at, and so they decide they're going to go. But Weaver wants to go follow Tom to be there for him, but really he wants to know what that creature was that he saw. Yeah. And he knows it's following them. So we're left with Hal being put in charge.
Okay.
What do you guys think of Hal and how he's doing as Mr. In Charge?
Well, I mean, I think that, we saw a little bit of Hal's leadership skills in the beginning of the season when, at least that first episode, when it didn't seem like he knew what was going on with his dad. So he was taking control. But this is, I think, a big act of faith. The fact that his dad gives him the reins. Yeah. And he's trying to take control, of course. And we see, of course, there are going to be some people in the group, Pope, who obviously don't like authority. And that gets to be a nice little challenge for Hal. Well, and, for Pope, not Hope. I hope Pope.
Pope's sake, he was trying to do something for the group. It wasn't it was a little selfish because he wanted to go against Hal's request, but he wanted to go look for those supplies right away. He was challenging Hal's decision because Hal was hesitant and he wanted to wait for Daddy to come back.
Yeah. Well, I think that shows some, obviously Hal is conflicted in this episode because he wants to be there for his dad, and his dad put all his faith in him. And it seems like a growing sentiment between the Volm that are there with them, like Shaq, and also the other people there that just have this uneasiness about their position, and that they feel that the Volm are gonna, not the Volm, that they feel the Ashveti know exactly where they're gonna be, and that they're gonna be sending troops over there. So Hal's torn. He doesn't want to separate. This show is all about the Weaver, about the Mason family. It's all about the Mason family, and right now it's about them. We see them starting to get back together again. So the last thing Hal wants to do is put himself in a situation where he's going to split himself up from his dad.
Do you think that's what it is? You guys think he doesn't want to separate from his dad because he wants them to be together, or do you think he's afraid of where he's going to have to take the team or the group?
Well, what do you think?
And what
Phil?
Challenges?
I think he doesn't necessarily want to be separated either. In terms of Hal's leadership, I really liked when Pope kind of called him out of like, hey, are you just following orders or are you really in charge? I forget the exact line, but it was beautifully written. And you guys you mentioned it, Nando, of him really being tested. And I think this is a great test of him really coming into his own. And is it safe to say what I can say for next week, Roya?
From what I've heard, it's like 90% sure.
All right, so we have 90% chance of rain and Hal coming in. for next Sunday. And so, the reason I bring that up is because it'll be interesting. I want to know specifically from him what's kind of been more fun in terms of story arc last year when he was going crazy, or this where he's becoming a sort of a man. He doesn't have, now he doesn't have his father. He doesn't have Maggie, so he's really kind of coming into his own.
Yeah. So to be clear, so the actor that plays Hal,
Drew Roy.
Will 90% chance.
No, Hal.
Hal's going to be here?
Hal.
Hal will be
Either
here.
way, I'm going to be super happy. So whichever character, actor, either one works for me. Now it probably drop down to 80% because he's probably watching this and be like, and she's
He's going to
there.
be like,
yeah.
and I'm scared.
Yeah.
And I'm done. No, he will show, I'm sure. I'm sure we will not scare him off. He's fabulous.
Fabulous.
Yeah, he's great. He's
Nice.
great on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Who else is really fabulous?
Who else is fabulous?
Our new character, Sarah, who's just as equally badass as Pope.
I love Sarah. Sarah is awesome. At first, actually, when we see Sarah, she kind of reminded me a lot of Maggie. Mm-hmm. There was a bit of a Maggie streak in her. I mean, she's got the gun out. She's got the shotgun. She's shooting it. She's badass. So
Yep.
it was very. I almost wish that the character was not a blonde because I think there's just too many similarities to Maggie already. But
And Karen, who was also a blonde.
and Karen was also a blonde, but I don't think Karen held herself like that. But
I think personality-wise, she's while she has similarities, she's so different, and where she just matches Pope so evenly.
I just want to call her Mrs. Pope.
Yep.
Because I feel like that's where it's going to come to.
I wouldn't be happy with that. Pope needs someone. He needs that balance to make him good again. Or smart.
I don't think she's not gonna make him good. She's only gonna satisfy him in other terms.
She's going to make him, she's going to satisfy him in other terms. And I think, if anything, she's just as bad as Pope is.
But it would make him less selfish.
That's true. In fact, it might give him some more redeeming qualities now that he has. It looks like he might end up, hanging out with.
Just
Sarah
because
more.
but just because you're not necessarily selfish just towards yourself, but let's say to you and one other person, doesn't make you not selfish. It's still
true. But Pope's always been in it for himself. So this is the first time he's actually expanded. I had a friend who always, like, whenever you have a story or you're like whining about something, he would put his hands and goes, "This is my circle of caring. Anything outside this circle I don't care about." So I keep thinking of my friend like that when I think of Pope. So Pope's circle has kind of expanded to maybe include another person.
Yes.
because he's giving a hug. He's giving Sarah a hug. So
Yes.
she's within his circle.
Oh, man. That's exactly what's going to happen, too.
But that was my friend. I used to love that. He just put his hands together. This is my circle of caring.
Sweet. I'm going to do that when Hal comes around, too. And Drew. So
now
I'm
he's
gonna
not coming. Now he's not showing up.
Damn it, guys. I'm
What do you
sorry.
guys? Here's the thing. What do you guys think of? Because if it wasn't for the aliens kind of invading the farm, I don't think Pope was going to get out of that one. I don't know. I think in that regard, I think his luck might have run out.
I kind of agree with you. So you're saying the aliens are matchmakers? They kind of like, oh, if it wasn't for them, we never would have met.
The new form of Cupid.
Yes, totally. No, I kind of agree with you. It was like it looked pretty desperate for Pope there at the end. I mean, she even said she bets there's a lot of women who wishes that they'd put him in the position that she's putting him in. Leave him where he's at. So, which she's probably correct about.
And I loved how she drugged the beer. And you could even see the way she wasn't drinking the beer. Knew something was up, especially the way she looked at him when I was watching that scene.
That whole scene was just weird. It's like, here's this girl shooting a couple of rounds into your truck, and she won't kill you, but you still want to, but Pope's still like thinking he can get one over on her. He's like, no, I just want to talk. I want to share a beer. I just felt that whole scene, I kind of knew something was up.
Yeah.
But it was really awesome the way it played out.
He was asking for the way he blew on the beer to get the fuzz out, the head of the beer. It's just
Yeah.
like, oh, come on, Pope, you're being too cocky. It's gonna bite you in the ass.
But she's great. I love the writing between the two of them, the dialogue that happened between the two of them. It just seems like it just seems really obvious that I think people out there, write us if you don't think so, are going to see those two together at some point very, very soon. They definitely bonded at the end when they were talking down to Hal, and she was putting Hal in his place. Hal's like, "Who are you?" And she's just like, "Are you the mayor?" Because I didn't know they gave those titles out anymore.
I didn't know they existed.
It was like
Yeah.
so awesome. So awesome seeing this character. I'm really psyched to see some new blood like this.
And then with that, the way she delivered that to Hal, I liked how Hal handled that situation.
Actually, he did a good job.
Better than what Tom would do. Tom would have been more hot-headed and like, Pope, you know, this is typical Pope. Hal knew that it was typical Pope, but he handled it very well.
I don't know if Tom would have. I don't know if Tom usually goes off the handle like that. I don't think he would have toward Pope, but I really do think it showed maturity in Hal to do that. And I think I kind of feel like his dad. I think that Tom would have done that as well.
Acted the same way as
I think
Hal?
he would have acted similar because Tom does show like pressure under fire. He's not hot under the handle, like hot to handle.
I
like
don't know.
Pope
Lately,
is.
he has been though.
Well,
this season,
I think it depends on the situations, but I think with Pope, he's always been able to handle Pope.
True, because they're in cahoots, right?
Because they're in cahoots, according to you. You say they're in cahoots.
So two other people that are in cahoots. You like my little ties that I got going here?
Yeah, sure. I love the
Matt
segue.
and his Mira, right? Was her
Mira.
name?
Mm-hmm.
So Matt's in the camp. He is locked down in a basement of some sort. And before Coachy Weaver and Tom can get to him, Coachy gets attacked by Jeannie.
Coachies.
What am I saying?
You said Coachies and then you corrected yourself. You said Coachy.
Coachy.
It's Coachies.
Coachies.
Yes, Coachies.
Oh man. Well, either way, you get my point. So
I got it. Just
Alien
making sure.
Man. I'm just kidding. No, but
People are quick to judge us on here.
I know, but it's one letter. It's an S. Okay, I'm sorry, guys.
Okay, go ahead.
He gets attacked by Jeannie, or a figure, a creature that we didn't know until later that it's Jeannie.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, so sorry, guys.
So Coachies gets attacked.
Yes.
Okay.
And I thought when Coachys got attacked, he was dead because he was attacked by Venom. Phil, did you think he was going to survive that? Obviously, they said, I just need to heal, but before that.
I actually thought, even when he said, I'm going to heal, I thought for sure he would have he would have died. Just because it would have, it makes the circumstances even more dire of like, hey, we set out to do this and, we couldn't even do that. And now he has to return back to the Volm. And where their second in command was kind of recognized, they gave him a name. I will not remember that name.
Shaq Chick.
Shaq.
Chick.
Fair enough.
Well, they call him Shaq.
I thought it would be under very bad circumstances of them returning and saying, "Hey, we failed," and this is, and then they would have gotten mad because it would have been. It's because of Tom's selfishness in that point of trying to rescue Matt.
Yeah, I definitely thought that was going to happen too during that whole scene when he was attacked, especially since they said, "Oh, he's attacked by Venom." I was like, "Oh, is he going to heal? What's going to happen?"
We've seen Coachies heal last season. I believe it was last season.
Yeah.
We've seen him do a really, he usually goes into some kind of stasis mode where you can't move him, and he heals super fast. So
fast but slow at the same time.
Well,
he needs a full night's rest.
Well, I'd say super fast as far as in comparison to a regular person has the same injuries. But yes, in the middle of a war when things are going down, yeah,
I'm gonna take a nap.
It's kind of like using the internet now.
Okay, he's not Wolverine.
He's not Wolverine. It's kind of like using the internet with a slow Wi-Fi. It's like, oh my God, why can't I get my answer right away? It's like, it's still fast.
That's fair.
Okay?
That's fair.
All
I'll
right.
give you that.
Okay.
I'll give you guys that for sure. He's definitely not Wolverine. So Tom and Weaver end up going on to their mission to find Matt on their own without Coachies, and they go in and they're like, Tom's going around looking for Matt, and he sees a boy. Boy gets up, Matt, slap that man, slap that child for blowing the whistle.
Of course he's gonna blow it. I mean, you said
I would not come back for that kid.
Of course they're blowing whistle. Yeah, he's gonna come back for him. Yeah, right.
Tom says, I'm
All
going to come back.
those
I'm going to
whistleblowers.
rescue you guys all. I would be like, nope, not that one. Not the whistleblower. You can go blow that whistle somewhere else. Okay?
Not that one. Not at all.
That one, yeah, just come on. He's trouble. Anyway, so they are being alerted by the whole security with the whistle blowing, and Weaver and Tom are running down to the basement to they're running away, and then that's when they run into Mira. Mira?
Yes.
Mira. You got it.
Don't add a letter there. It's Mira.
It's Canadian. I like to add little letters here and there. Anyways, Mira, and she goes, "You're looking for Matt? I'll show you." So she takes him down to Matt, where Matt is being strangled by what was his name? The pack leader, the team leader? Did he have a name?
They called him team leader.
Okay, when he's being.
I don't think they ever gave him a name, but it was
we
team
don't
leader.
have names at Hitler camp.
Okay.
Hitler
Okay.
camp,
Just
they don't
making
have
sure.
names.
But he's being like, what's the sleeper hold on Matt?
Yeah.
Why is he attacking Matt? Why, Phil? Why?
Because Matt. This was the first time that Matt kind of wasn't conforming, right? And I don't know if team leader thought that this was an act by Matt all along, and at least initially, and that's why he made him team leader, as we kind of find out. But I thought their argument and their explanations were really good in this episode. It was like, no, Matt, they came here because of terrorism. It was us who attacked them. It's our fault, not theirs. So I thought that was interesting in terms of finally Matt being fully interrogated rather than trying to just be brainwashed.
So you think the team leader had no idea that that whole distraction was going on upstairs, that he was being rescued?
Correct.
Okay. So it just happened coincidentally. He was down there interrogating, and then he tries to chokehold him or sleeper him, and that's when Daddy comes to the rescue. Tom knocks the crap out of him.
Yeah.
Were you guys happy when you saw that? When you saw a team leader get punched and punched and punched?
Are you saying was I happy when I was happy when the hero of the TV show actually beat up somebody who we keep referring to as in a Hitler camp?
Yes.
So yeah, I'd say I was happy. I would say that's a safe guess that I was happy to see that.
Okay. Phil, it's silence on your end.
Were you happy, Phil? Were you happy when Tom Weaver?
I was not particularly happy. No.
Do you want more
Not
from it?
particularly.
You wanted more?
What didn't you like about it?
Well, he eventually stopped.
Oh, okay.
That's what you didn't like. Okay. Cool. I'm glad we got that out in the open. I just
Okay.
wanted to make sure.
Yes.
And that's when Mira decides, because they're running out, she's super
God.
happy. She sees Matt. She gives him a hug. They embrace. And then they go outside to run away, but the gate is being blocked. So Mira says, I'm going to cause a distraction. It's okay. They don't know I'm a part of it. I'm sure they do now, but go. Just run away. I will cause a distraction. And Tom goes, we'll come back for her. We'll come back for her. And you want to describe what you saw on that?
No, well, first of all, just the good point. I think Mira made a really willing sacrifice, and it almost makes sense in a way for her not to join. I mean, again, this is all about the Masons getting together again. So someone like Mira, I hate to say it, is kind of just a side character. So, but here she is, especially after she was freaking out last week and stealing the wire cutters and getting Matt into this mess. Here she is having a moment of heroism and saying, "You guys get to get out of here. Just come back for us. It's a bigger deal for you guys to get out than me." So that's the good news. The bad news is she's like, "I'm gonna create a distraction," and she takes one step and starts blowing a whistle. Right in that first step. Like, if I was an alien, I probably would have been like, okay, where did this sound originate from? Where was the spot where the sound first came from?
True, but these are skitters chasing
These are
after,
skitters, so they're just gonna follow. They're gonna follow little mice, like she's a Pied Piper, just leading the mice away. So I just think it would have been nice if she ran like 30 feet at least, maybe 20 feet, and then blown the whistle. But no, 2 feet, not even half a foot. So that's all.
Okay.
That's what I feel.
See, you got that. I got the whole punching thing. That was my issue, was punching.
Yeah, the punching thing. Absolutely.
So, yeah, and I guess we're left with Weaver finding out.
Well, yeah,
he gets pulled away.
Well, Weaver splits up, and it was just so obvious when Weaver splits up that he was looking for Jean or something. Yeah, he might be, and all of a sudden he got pulled. We didn't see who it was, but we knew it was this creature that was following them the whole time. And then we see him kind of like laying down on some real like junkyard version of a couch. And it was kind of freaky seeing this creature come and say daddy.
Yeah.
And then we realize it's Jean. Somebody on YouTube wrote down and said it was a daughter, so I guess it was more apparent to him. But it's really weird seeing this skitterized version of Jean jumping in there, literally jumping. She jumped at the commercial break. It looked like she was jumping toward Weaver. Turns out she was protecting him from another creature, from those skitter. Yeah. So, and then she has her moment of heroism, even though she's been turned and skitterized. She has her moment of clarity, where she recognizes her dad. She realizes what she's become, and she protects her dad, but unfortunately is fatally wounded in the battle. And, of course, her dad comes to the rescue and kills the skitter. So he has, like, one moment with her before she finally dies.
She would have been a great asset for their team. Just going to throw that out there, if she survived. Except for my question is, with the whole free will thing, how is she doing that?
Well, she seemed like one of those typical, like a Frankenstein monster that, kind of sees the good, but still can't control themselves, like struggling between, she's probably struggling between the skitter side of her or the alien side of her that is very, warped. into their own purpose and the human side of her. And I think what there's a great message here, and Weaver pretty much tells Tom this at the end, but it just shows, I mean, this was something that they touched upon with the Volm last season during the finale, is that the biggest weapon that humans have is their spirit. And here she is. I mean, Dan said it. She was a fighter till the very end. She's a fighter. So it just goes to show you, just goes to reinforce that whole thing, that the reason why the Ishvedi and even the Volm realize how valuable and how important humans are is because they have this will to live and to fight, despite all odds. And again, this is the perfect thing for Tom Mason because he's a history teacher, and there's tons of examples of people, revolutions, of people of going up against the authority. And here's a smaller case. Here's a very micro case of it where Jean gets skitterized and yet is still somehow able to break free enough to do her own will. So
yeah,
I talked a lot there.
Phil, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
In terms of them, not really.
No. Okay.
Did you like it when Jean attacked that other skitter?
Thanks, Nando. Thanks.
I'm sorry.
Did I? I thought it was. I would concur that was a great moment.
Were you sad when she stopped hitting him?
I was quite sad, and
Okay.
you know what? It's going to be interesting to see how this goes. Because in the moment, right? In terms of, they're all really splintering apart, right? Hal and that faction are kind of off on their own, and now you have just these guys off in the woods, and so it's great reunion between Matt and Tom. But we've left behind someone at the camp, which we obviously talked about. But there's that separation. So Matt's got separation, and then although we've kind of reunited Lexi and all that group, we'll talk about that in a moment. There's just too much separation, so it will take a lot of hope. But part of the problem is, it's only these characters that kind of know this type of hope. You know what I mean? Or at least know that this message, they're the only ones that are reminded of this message. And sometimes, especially in these kind of circumstances, you constantly sometimes need to be reminded of that. Where unlike Pope now, who's kind of, second in charge of Hal's camp, his whole thing, their philosophy is like, thank God for the apocalypse. It's true.
Yeah.
It is kind of true. Yeah. Sarah even said it, Pope's not the only one who thinks that way. Sarah's like, I can do what I want.
But it's just funny that Pope's point, like his experience in life before the apocalypse and hers, she had a job. She was a graphic designer.
She was
Pope
working
was
on
in jail.
waterproof smartphone
Yeah.
cases. That was awesome.
I hope she has extra ones. That'd be nice to have. Anyways.
In the apocalypse, yes.
Back in the camp.
Here's one important question I want to ask, though. Do you think, as noble as Mira's cause was to actually leave them, do you think she'll actually survive? I think that's an important question, because especially after talking about the human spirit and human will, do you think Mira has what it takes to probably survive in that camp on her own?
They haven't. Matt escaped. They're gonna change their whole routine about everything. They're gonna be even harder on all the students there or all the kids there, and I think they're gonna start skitterizing them a little bit quicker. So I think she might be the one. I know it's a prediction, but I think she might be a skitterized.
I'll say, yeah. I was gonna save it for predictions, but I feel similar, especially since I wrongly predicted that Matt would get turned before he got rescued.
Phil, what do you think? Oh, sorry.
What was the question again? Did I like her getting his? Is that the theme of tonight?
Her getting his?
What? What? Are we talking about Pope and Sarah now, or are we no? We're talking about Mira and her.
Do you think Mira will get turned by staying in the camp? Do you think she's doomed?
I think to a large degree, because especially, she says like, "Hey, I'll get out," upon graduation. But it's more of a thing of, I don't think she's gonna get. You know what I mean? Now by having done so, graduation is gonna be that much further from her future.
Oh yeah.
Now also, I think.
It's a prison more than a school.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nando. Yes, yes, it is.
She's not getting time off of good behavior here.
Plus,
That's what I mean.
I think they're gonna catch on that she kept running and there's nothing around her, and she kept blowing the whistle. So what is the what's the reasoning behind that?
I don't think that, because I mean she's already kind of unpredictable and weird, and I think everybody there is probably panicking, and that's the one thing that those kids could be panicking and blowing their whistle because they saw a squirrel. For all you know,
They're not allowed to see squirrels.
They're not allowed to see. But I'm just saying. I think. I'm sure with all the other whistleblowing going around in that camp, because once the kids started whistleblowing, Tom and everyone else ran away. So who's to say that when they finally catch up with Mira, she's like, they were just here, but they ran off. She can get away with it. But I still think she's doomed.
Yeah. Speaking of whistleblowing, there was a history lesson by Hal instead of our professor when he was leaving a note for Tom. That was my little segue. Sorry, guys. When he left a note for Tom, like with the spray paint. Yeah. So because they had to leave because the mechs were coming and they were pushing them. And did you catch on that the mechs only thing that was clear was the west side? Couldn't go north, couldn't go south, wouldn't want to go east. But the west side was the only area that was clear. And so that's where the coordinates were that they heard on the radio. So I feel as though not just because they're searching for them, but they're trying to push everybody that's in that area hearing the radio to the west. Towards Lexi.
Well, that would be really good for predictions.
Yeah, I don't know what it's
that would be
do,
really.
But...
I think there's something there. I have an idea of maybe for predictions. Maybe I'll bring it up for that.
Cool.
But I guess we should talk about.
Yeah, let's get into the west
Chinatown.
side.
Let's talk about Chinatown.
Yes.
Let's go to Chinatown, people.
Yeah, or we see Lexi and Anne finally having their first mother-daughter moment, talking. And there was a line that Lexi said to Anne that I thought stood out. They're talking about Anne saying how I wish I could have saved you. 6 months ago you were just a little girl, now you're not. And Lexi goes, a path has been set for me. I just need the strength to walk it. That worries me about what that path is and why she needs the strength for. But again, that's another prediction. But I thought that was a very interesting foreshadowing.
Yeah. Well, she's definitely taken on this like prophet messiah type outlook. So that's a very prophet-y line that she's saying there. But of course, Maggie and Ben know that she's been talking to Anisveti, so that puts everything else into question. But I think the important thing is that Lexi still feels she's fighting the good fight. She's walking this path. There is something to be said. She feels like she's definitely walking a path that no one else has walked before. She has communication with the aliens that no one else has had this kind of rapport, and the result of her talking to them is that they have this safe haven, that no one's getting attacked, no one's getting taken away, no one's getting put into a ghetto camp, into a Nazi camp, into a skitterized camp. Everyone seems to be safe in this immediate area. So, you know,
they're keeping up their end of the bargain.
So far, exactly. But what I thought was really interesting was when Anne got to separate herself and start talking to Maggie and Ben. And even before Maggie, I think it was even before Maggie said that Lexi was meeting with Anisveti, Anne said, I don't know what she is. That was the exact quote when she was talking about Lexi, talking about Lexi aging. Like she knew that Lexi was aging at a faster age, but I guess she still didn't know what to expect. But she didn't say, I don't know who she is. I don't know what she is. So I felt like, and this is a woman, we were talking about this earlier. She was desperately trying to get back to her daughter. It was a very motherly feeling, I felt. I mean, we were definitely talking about whether it was selfish or not. I felt it was a mother who really wanted to get back to the child that she birthed.
Yeah.
And here she is now finally meeting her, and now she's calling her a what?
That's a very interesting point.
Yeah. So, and then of course when Maggie ends up telling Anne about that rendezvous that they witnessed, Maggie, typical Maggie, is obviously
guns out.
But Anne was even like, let's blow her, let's go, that's it. Oh no, we're going there right now. Maggie's like, yeah, let's go blow her brains out, which I thought was really, really like, whoa, this is a human being. This was your daughter.
No. They wanted to blow the alien.
Oh, but I thought they wanted
not
to
her
alien.
Daughter.
Oh, good.
Holy crap.
Good. Then I
She would have switched the motherly.
I misread that. I apologize.
Whoa.
I
think my punching thing is legit now. It's
your punching
legit
thing's
question.
a little more legit. But still, I just still thought it was a very regardless, I still thought that was a very big big turn for both of them to say that, not to trust Lexi and to want to just go out there guns a-blazing, especially when they have this treaty, so to speak, going on in the town.
Yeah.
So
I still, with that question of what she is, still goes back to the end of last season when Anne was freaked out by her baby. Again, not knowing what she was. So still at that point.
I still feel, to be honest, I wrote down in the notes, lower brains. I really felt, well, I guess, I'm going to stand by. You know what? I am going to stand by it. And this is why we saw this episode and came right in here. It's not like we can just rewatch certain scenes. But the reason why I wrote that is because, again, I based it based on the way they were talking about Lexi beforehand. They were talking about her like she's a what, not a who. And I really felt like this was the mother, just the scene before, this was a mother bonding with her daughter, trying to bond with her weird daughter, creepy Lexi, but still bonding with her. And now all of a sudden she's like, I don't know what she is. Oh, well, she's been talking to an alien. And it's like, whoa, okay, something's up. I really feel that way. But okay. I don't think, this is Steven Spielberg, TNT. She's not going to blow her brains out. But just that reaction I thought was pretty severe.
What about you, Phil? What do you think?
I certainly didn't think that they were going to kill her. I think what we've learned in these 4 episodes is that everyone must be rescued, right? We have to keep this whole thing intact. And especially after tonight's message, like, we have to keep humanity intact. And so it's not that we have to kill Lexi, it's that we have to take away the evil.
Yeah, I can see that. She definitely has some evil in her that needs to... Lexi has to choose. Obviously, she's taking sides with the alien that impregnated Anne, or was a part of that insemination, and is playing the fatherly role. In Lexi's defense,
when you have people like Maggie who are just like having these gut reactions, and even Anne, because we saw what Anne did to that Skitter a couple of episodes ago, when she sees the humans acting in that way, and then her only contact to Anishveti is he's coming down like some kind of prophet himself, in that robe and all peaceful and quiet and offering peace.
Yeah.
If you were Lexi, who would you really believe in the end?
That's a valid. Yeah, if I was Lexi, I'd be thinking he's right. He's been keeping up with his bargain. Like, he's not coming in with guns and ambushing our meeting. He's going by what he said every time, each time.
Absolutely.
Which at the meeting that Lexi was gonna have with him, that's when Anne shows up. Did you find it weird that when Ben was talking for him, the alien man, which we find out is Geminis, but we'll get to that. Yeah. He says mother in it. Yeah. Wasn't that just kind of a weird line to say?
Well, when he said that, it drew me back to the flashback that we saw last week with Karen, and that weird like umbilical cord type thing sticking out of Anne. And I can't remember for the life of me right now what that cord was attached to. I think it was attached to. It was probably attached to that Ashveti.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, exactly. So then that's what it was. And I guess mother, kind of like, like the 1950s version when your mom and dad, your dad would call your mom, "Hello, mother."
Okay.
it kind of
so
had
been watching those
like we've been
I Love Lucy kind of shows.
Yeah, it's like when I watch those I Love Lucy, or like Donna Reed or some of those really old shows.
They're doing
like,
their research.
"Hello, mother." Yeah, so it was almost like they're in a relationship with each other, that Ashveti and Anne, because they had this cord, this connection.
It could be the whole respect sign, and that's to make Lexi feel that he's being respectful towards her mother.
That's the other thing too. He's obviously this Ashveti is very smart and knows that just to keep being peaceful and keep talking in such a way, and to reveal himself, without like doing any duplicitous tricks or anything. So of course it makes Anne and Ben and Maggie all look like the bad guy when they start reacting toward him.
Yeah.
And the Ashveti took over Ben. We saw Ben's spikes glowing, and Ben was talking on behalf of the Ashveti. And what was interesting was when Ben finally regained control. Well, a couple of things were interesting, but when Ben finally regained control, he said, "Anne's right. I can feel it in my head. This guy's lying." So, which is really, really interesting. I didn't know that you could, actually like kind of have be that invested in your soul of the alien that you can kind of feel out.
Well, we saw when the other harness kid, I can't remember her name, but she and Ben kind of had some relationship together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When she was in that skitter's head and Anne decided to kill it,
Yeah.
we saw that she felt it.
We saw that reaction.
And she kept seeing what the skitter, anytime they talked about the West and how you couldn't really see what was going on.
Well, it's interesting seeing then that Ben almost it's almost like a polygraph test, It's like you get to use Ben as a conduit, but yet Ben can kind of tell if you're lying or not. So, but again, Ben saying that the Ashveti's lying, and yet the Ashveti's still like, okay, I get it. Even like Lexi was starting to get all, like Carrie crazy on everybody, and wind's blowing like crazy, and stuff's about to go down, and the Ashveti's like, if Ashveti tells her, not this isn't the right way to do it, this isn't the way, calm down, don't let their aggression get to you, don't match their aggression. Yeah,
and I like that. I thought it was a great statement from him. But I want to ask Drew, when he comes in, if he's seen the setup for when Lexi gets mad, if he's been on set around that, because obviously we haven't seen any episodes where they're together, but how many fans do they have on set for that scene to happen? I want to know how that production works for that.
I don't know.
She's got that,
I don't know if you noticed, but even when she's not like getting angry, the wind is still blowing in her hair. She's always has a fan on her no matter what. But then when she starts getting her powers going, or she starts getting very emphatic toward the situation, it's getting very hostile. All of a sudden they put like every major fan on top of her. It's really funny.
She keeps her eyes open the entire time.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Bravo,
it's
actress.
Awesome though. It's awesome.
So let's move on. So he gets the alien.
Alien's pretty much captured. They have the alien tied up.
And then when we see the next, is it the next scene or?
Well, it's shortly after. You're talking about
the big alien meeting.
That was very interesting.
And I'm sorry that I keep calling them aliens, but I know I'm going to butcher the real word.
I keep saying Ashveti. If I'm saying it right, Ashveti.
Ashveti?
Yeah.
Ashveti. There we go. Ashveti. There we go. And watch, that's probably completely wrong. Anyways.
I blame my New York accent on
right. Geminis.
Yes, so that was
one?
interesting. I guess they're both Geminis, because when we first saw that scene, it was the alien, I'll say alien right now, that I believe was in charge of the ghetto camp that Tom escaped, and it was after Tom got what looked like to the farmhouse, grabbed what seemed like to be a piece of coal, and squeezed it really, really hard, so it turned hot.
Yeah, I thought it was dirt, and I was like, wow, he's powerful.
It was like some kind of rock or coal or something. I felt like he was going to make it into a diamond. And then we see him transport to some other realm. It was like, I said it before, this realm looked like Voldemort went to Mount Doom.
I like that, because I was trying to figure out what it was. In my head, I'm like, is it a Mortal Kombat kind of setup?
It was like
ground?
Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings all mixed in or something. It was
Bad
really
guys
weird.
hangout zone.
Yeah. So and he called out Geminis, right? Is it Geminis? Yeah, called out Geminis, and then the other Ashveti showed up, the one that's been with Lexi, and they had this really interesting conversation. But the other Ashveti ended up calling the first Ashveti Geminis as well. So I'm guessing that's a name for that. That's what they call themselves. I don't know yet. It's a little confusing.
Like, maybe, buddy. Hey, buddy. Buddy, you here, buddy?
I don't know. I mean, because I mean, when the first Geminis was called, that first of Ashveti's lips were moving. So that was the only other thing I could think of if it was something off screen. But whatever. Anyway, I don't want to go.
But yeah, so what they talk about, though, is how Lexi is actually a bigger weapon than they expected.
Yeah.
And they are going to be pretty much set. They're going to be ready to go soon if he can keep her on his side, which he's doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the first thing is definitely that the first Ashveti is pissed, and he wants to burn Mason slowly. I love that. He will burn slowly. So we could see this one really, really angry. So you could tell he's definitely hell-bent. He's hell-bent on going after Tom Mason and his crew. And then, we discover that Ben was right when Ben broke away from the Ashveti's hold, that this guy is lying. This alien is actually lying, and he's preparing to use Lexi in some capacity, because she's going to be some big, powerful weapon that they're going to use. Yeah. And that she listens to everything he says. She's like a little groupie. We saw her at the very end after they went back to after we go back to Earth or whatever, from wherever they came from, and Lexi just seems to be looking at him with like these open eyes, like she's obviously listening to every single thing he says.
I wonder if she sees him as a father figure or just somebody just I don't know where to go with that.
Considering she's all about peace, and so far this Svitek has not shown any sign of anything else other than being peaceful. I think it's almost like a mentorship. She just looks up to this.
She's learning how to use her power.
Yeah.
What do you think, Phil?
Is this a mentorship?
A mentorship.
That's the question is, do you think it's a mentorship? Is that what you're thinking?
Absolutely not. Well, what do you want me to say?
I don't know why. It just was funny. I just laughed.
I want your opinion.
What do you think the relationship between Lexi and what we think is Geminis is?
Yeah, the hooded one.
The hooded
the
Geminis.
Jedi.
The Jedi.
Well, it's the weapon. It's you have to, you get this young crop, just like Matt was a team leader. You get a young crop, and then you raise them to be evil, but under your command. And I think that's what they're, it's just another, the whole aspect of kids and raising the youth in this sort of way is interesting to me, because, again, how will they fully be used? And now if you have the kids, right, the episode's called Evolve or Die, and so if you can evolve the kids to attack the humans and the humans, as we've seen, will kind of change their ways if the kids do, or if they're trying to keep the safety of their kids.
So then I got a question for you guys. With that in mind, you described Jedi trying to raise Lexi and convincing her to do things, and then we have the team leader doing it for Matt. Do you think Tom, obviously Tom's a good guy in all of this, but Tom is also kind of doing the same thing with Hal, making Hal prep to be a team leader? I know it sounds very, but I mean, in comparison, do you think it's kind of like we're seeing three different point of views of how they're trying to raise the next leaders?
I mean, it's an interesting point. I mean, in a way, I guess you can make a case that Hal is evolving as a leader, and Tom is obviously working with him to give him that. Hal has proved himself in battle, like a good soldier, and I think it makes the most sense out of everyone we've seen. I mean, we don't really see that many more people in the group. I mean, Weaver's already in a position of power. Tector seems to be a sidekick. I mean, he's good for occasionally, South African guy. I'm not gonna say his name. I'm gonna mess it up right now.
He plays rugby.
Yes, who plays rugby. He seems to be a really like he could really be a leader, but he seems to be a bit of a loner who right now is with the group.
So he's kind of like a pope.
He's not a pope because he's not. I wouldn't say he's pope-ish. I just think he's someone who's used to not leading a team. He's used to surviving on his own, and he likes what he's in right now. But I don't see him evolving as a leader. Hal just makes the most sense right now. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, yeah. I was just curious. I just thought of that now. I'm like, wait a second. These comparisons.
Wait a second.
Do you guys have anything else you want to add? Any storylines that we might have forgotten to mention?
I think I'm good.
Phil?
You good, Phil?
I'm good overall. I mean, I think, it certainly was the last scene was the most interesting to me just because of the way it was shot.
Yeah.
And what it kind of revealed, and I'm still left pondering over that.
And again, it's like, it just shows it's an interesting power that they both were holding on to some rock, and next thing you know, they had some link to some other realm where they got to talk to each other. It was really weird. So...
Cheaters.
It's interesting to see this technology or whatever, however it is that they bond like that. So, but
and yet they still can't catch Tom Mason.
And yet
keep him inside.
That rascally Tom Mason. But I do have some news.
Oh, you do? Sweet.
Yeah, I actually do have some news.
AfterBuzz
Some very
TV news.
Some very big news because, as most nerds and geeks know, Comic-Con is coming up, and Falling Skies has always been at Comic-Con since actually before season 1. They started a year before before the show actually came out. They were at Comic-Con with a panel. So this year is no different. TNT has officially announced Falling Skies. Also, The Last Ship and Legends are also going to be a Comic-Con via, from TNT. But what's really cool about the Falling Skies is, well, first of all, the TNT booth on the convention floor. They're transforming their booth. It's going to be a Falling Skies booth that it's going to look like, this might be a minor spoiler, so for the next 20 seconds you might want to tune out. But minor spoiler. But
spoiler alert.
Thank you. So the Comic-Con booth for Falling Skies at the Convention Center is going to look like an alien cocoon that plays a pivotal part in the July 27th episode. So which to be honest, since July 27th, I think, is the weekend that Comic-Con ends, anyone who sees this booth is going to be spoiled anyway. It's probably just a very minor spoiler. Comic-Con attendees will have the opportunity to pose for pictures inside the large translucent cocoon. I'm reading this right now, which features fluid pumping vessels and atmospheric lights and sound designed to make the entire structure look alive. Interesting. Last year, actually, I think it was last year, or no, it was 2 years ago, I believe their booth was the booth where they actually had the skitter factory, where they put skitters on people, and you could take a picture like lying down where a skitter was about to be attached to you. So they do some cool stuff. Also, besides the booth, Falling Skies are going to have a panel like usual, and Noah Wiley, Moonblood Good, Drew Roy, who we can talk to hopefully next week about it, Will Patton, Sarah Carter, Maxim Knight, Scarlett Byrne, and Doug Jones, as well as executive producer David, I'm going to say this name possibly wrong, Eek, are slated to participate in the panel for the 4th season. And also, the session will also include video clips from upcoming episodes, plus the world premiere of the trailer for the upcoming video game, Falling Skies. So Falling Skies, they're actually making a Falling Skies video game.
That's cool.
Really, really interesting. And yeah, so the panel, anyone who's going to Comic-Con, the panel for Falling Skies will be Friday, July 25th from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. at the San Diego Convention Center, room 6BCF, which is a semi-big room. It's actually it's not as big as some of the other ones, but which is great. So if you have a seat there, you'll get a good view of the stars, which is really, really cool. And then one last bit of news. I actually found this out. AfterBuzz had a party last night, and I can't remember who I was talking to, but someone told me, and I did not look this up yet, but Phil, I hate to burst your bubble, but someone told me that Sarah Carter got married like a week or two ago.
Oh yeah, no, I knew that.
You knew that? So
That's why he's been quiet in the booth. He's actually quietly crying.
Oh, okay. That's what it is. So I'm devastated too. She's awesome. Hopefully we can have her on the show without the ring. But it'll be all cool. Now she won't show up.
I don't need to cause a divorce here, okay?
I'm not saying divorce. I'm just saying take the ring off before you come on the show. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying cheat on him.
And on
Give me a little hope. Give me a little hope here. Make the illusion alive.
Just tease a little bit.
Just tease a little bit.
Do you have anything else besides that?
I'm good.
Okay, well, let's jump into the predictions then.
Now,
oh, man.
Your AfterBuzz TV.
The stuff you learn at the AfterBuzz pool party.
Right.
The stuff you learn.
I think you're going to say that Drew Roy was coming next week. I'm like, I was the one that told you and talked to you about that. Come on,
I'm not going to take your thunder from that.
Forgot about me.
No, I'm not going to take your thunder.
Right.
And you could sit next to him. I'll give you permission to sit next to him.
Oh, yeah, I did say that at the pool party.
Yeah, you did say that at the pool party. I'm
like,
giving you credit for that.
All right, so Phil, do you want to go first for the prediction and all that jazz?
Next week looks exciting. We're getting... Apparently, I know, there's 12 episodes. Historically, there have been 10.
Every season, TNT has done 10 episodes. When you asked me that question last week, I was like, ah. But
okay,
yes,
so we're coming
12.
up. So next week, I thought we were coming up on the mid-season climax. We are not. That changes my perspective a little bit in terms of I don't think we're going to necessarily conclude as many storylines as we thought. I think we're going to set up something for episode 6. In terms of what happens, we're certainly not getting the band back together, at least until episode 6. Everyone's kind of going to be dealing with their own shenanigans, so to speak, for now. More specifically than that, I don't know. I would love to see immediately. I really need an immediate follow-up to what happened with that, the Voldemort telecommunication thing. Because in terms of that storyline, because it is such a big season arc, we've been kind of speculating about it, but we get a total of maybe 6-7 minutes an episode on that storyline alone. And while it progresses it phenomenally, I'm selfish where I want more.
Yeah,
that's fair.
That makes sense.
I mean, I just didn't understand why Lexi had to hand the RoboCop alien freaking dirt to get that communication going. That was just not cool. Oh no, it was the Jedi that she handed it to. The Jedi, I'm sorry. I just killed everything right there.
That's okay.
Go ahead with your
you know what, I think I pretty much hinted at this. I think Mira's gonna probably end up getting broken. She's gonna end up becoming a whistleblower in body and spirit. You know what, I wouldn't mind seeing her skitterized. I kind of feel like, I don't know if she'll be skitterized now that I think about it.
We need
it's
someone.
It's TNT, so I feel like one person getting skitterized is enough. That's going to be the only person we ever see skitterized that, as far as a cast member that we're familiar with. But I would like to see. I do feel that Mira is going to pay for her decision. It definitely was a heroic move, but ultimately she is sacrificing herself to kind of what I said last week about Matt thinking he can handle whatever they throw at him. And then I predicted he would turn, and I was wrong. I think Mira now has that false sense of bravado. Like, I'm a hero now. I can blow a whistle and run off in the other direction. Next thing you know, something bad's going to happen to her.
Well, he at least had qualities and belief that he could always do that.
Mira's always been skittish.
Yeah, exactly.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
I think because Weaver is pretty much his whole hope of being alive for Jeannie is gone. I mean, now he's got the revenge that he's got to do, but once he gets that revenge, something bad's gonna he's gonna sacrifice. I think
old Weaver would have done that, but there was something about the way he spoke about Jean, like she died a hero, like a hero's death. She was fighting till the end. I think that kind of gave him motivation to go on. I don't see him doing that, but he could.
I hope not.
He could. I don't know.
That's the way it goes.
But that's the way. That's the way I felt. It left off with him this episode.
You know, I'm going to throw this out there. It's probably not going to happen, but I think Maggie and Ben are going to finally, with that preview that we saw the first episode, they're probably going to get their kiss on.
And Sarah and Pope are going to get it on too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
not even
fine.
prediction. That's just obvious.
Pope needs to relax a little bit, just saying. So, Phil, where can we find you? And I know
here at AfterBuzz TV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for pictures of the AfterBuzz TV pool party. Check out Instagram.
Uh-oh. I haven't even looked at that. Nando, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Nandovel, Nandovel, and on other shows here at AfterBuzz, including the 24 season finale tomorrow, which I'm psyched about.
Ooh, exciting. Yeah. It's going to be a cliffhanger for sure. Well, guys, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at HeyRoya. That's HeyRoya. And I'm also on the Masters of Sex panel, which just started up tonight. So check that out. And there's something else I'm on. I don't remember. But we'll be here. Yay, guys. Thanks for checking it out.
Next week.
Drew Roy.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.